Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. I'm super pumped to be here today. My name is Val, and I am going to be host and hangout buddy for one of my favorite people of all time, Codi Bear. How are you, Codi?
I'm doing great, Val. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited for this. I've been looking forward to it. So I want to welcome everyone into the chat. I'm going to refresh because I'm not seeing my pals in the chat. There we go. I see Steven, Gareth, Annika. Annika, save your work, please. Laura, Wade, Acuff, it's good to see you. Claire, Sean, Bliss. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm super pumped that you are here to hang out. If you are over on the YouTube channel, please come over to behance.net/live because that is where all of these invisible people we are greeting are. If you're not seeing them in chat and are a little confused, this is where the party's happening. This is where you can get all the helpful resources and links and things that we post. And it is also where you could check out our artist spotlight tab. We're going to be having an artist spotlight towards the last 30 minutes or so of today's stream. And if you would like more information on how you can nominate yourself or another artist for a future spotlight, head over to Behance, click on that tab above the chat, and go ahead and submit or suggest somebody for the future. But yeah, so those are all of our housekeeping things. We've got that out of the way, and now it's time to have some fun. So Codi, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you, just in case there's new folks who are unfamiliar with you and your work in the chat, and let us know what we're going to be doing for today.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Codi. I am a children's illustrator, as well as some of you may know me as a chat moderator. Also, speaking of chat moderators, our chat moderator today is Wade Acuff. Give it up for Wade in the chat.
Yes,
Woo!
he's amazing.
Yeah.
Round of applause
also,
for Wade.
Val is one of our chat moderators as well, so give it up for Val. Woo!
Hey. Is it lame that I'm giving it up for myself? Is that
Golf
not chill? Okay. That's a small applause.
We can
for me.
all
Okay.
give it up for Val.
All
right.
right. Thank you.
Anyway, me, who am I? I am Codi, also known as Codi Bear. I do a lot of like cutesy children's book characters, although I've never done a children's book as of yet, but maybe one day.
Okay.
I do a lot of animal characters, and I use a lot of earth tones, and I like to kind of try to evoke a sense of childhood nostalgia and innocence, and a lot of my scenes are based on just like the simple things in life, enjoying the simple things in life, like going to a bakery, for instance. Always love a good old bakery, right? And I mostly work in Photoshop, but sometimes I do some gouache work, like this little bear here, for instance.
His little pants.
Little bee pants. Yeah.
Oh
no. I am new to gouache, so I haven't done very many, but sometimes I do every once in a while.
Honestly, I would never have known looking at that. That looked fantastic. Good
Thank
for you, Codi.
Yeah, so I like to use a lot of chalk textures in my work as well. And we are actually going to be doing that today. I guess that is probably a good transition into what we'll be working on today is coloring. So yesterday we were talking about how I use flat forced perspective. I know you weren't here, Val, but this is my little cheat sheet that we talked about yesterday, where my very technical terms called flat, and round, flat, and side profile perspective.
Okay. Hey, sounds very, very, very legit to me. Okay.
Very technical, you guys.
I get it.
Yes. Took a lot of time on those. So I believe Wade has that link for you guys if you want to use this little cheat sheet as reference. And if you want to go over the lesson from yesterday, also, you can check out the first part either here on Behance or on YouTube. But today we are going to be working on coloring this. Yesterday we were starting to work on the final sketch of this But then offline after the stream, I went ahead and finished the final sketch. And now I am going to go ahead and condense all of these layers down into one flat sketch and then lower the opacity and get going on the coloring process. So we can talk about color and lighting. I'm going to show you guys this cool like lighting trick today that kind of makes it all glowy looking in the dark there. So yeah, let's see. First things first, let's condense all these things down because we don't really need all of these. Let's see, is that?
I'm super pumped about this because I've been trying to experiment honestly on my own with kind of a style that is less like, 13 hours for a painting kind of thing. And I've actually been at a loss as to how to build scenes and like color it all so it looks like it belongs together in a different style. So this is going to be really educational for me. I'd love to know if anyone in chat is interested in testing this out for themselves. How many of you folks are looking forward to kind of jumping in and doing some illustration for yourselves today?
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, there were a few people that actually posted on Instagram. So they're examples of their own versions of my flat perspective. And I was like so happy because people felt inspired by the stream yesterday. And it just warmed my heart that people were trying it out. Yeah, that's great. So the main brush that I use is in Kyle Webster's brushes. It's in the mega pack. If you don't know how to download Kyle's brushes, you open the brush menu, go to the gear icon here, and then get more brushes. It'll open your browser, and you can download all of his packs. I pretty much exclusively use Kyle's brushes in terms of texture brushes. Like I just love them so much. I just every once in a while I'll just try out new brushes. But for the past couple of years, I've been using this brush called Conte Crayon, and that's pretty much in every single one of my I'm on the wrong color. Pretty much in every single one of my illustrations, you'll see this brush. Like this is the only brush that I use for coloring.
Awesome. Okay.
So all of my colors are actually flat, with the exception of, I actually pulled up this Photoshop file so I can turn the layers off here. This is what it looks like without the lighting layer.
Oh, okay. So
this
you really add some atmosphere and depth in there.
So this is just the flat color. So these colors are actually pretty dark. Shield your eyes. I'm going to turn the background of Photoshop to pure white so you can really see how dark it is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when it's up against the dark background on Photoshop, sometimes it kind of like tricks your eye into thinking that it's a lot lighter because of the contrast. But so that I turn the background of Photoshop to white every once in a while so I can really see how dark it is. But yeah, so this is just the flat color. I really don't ever add any shading. Only every once in a while will I add maybe like, for instance, on this piece, there's just like a little bit of watercolor shading here to add some like drop shadows. For the majority of the time, with the exception of the lighting, everything is flat color.
Gotcha.
So I rely on my texture to really add the depth rather than a ton of shading.
That's so interesting to me because I don't think until you pointed that out, I don't think I ever really realized that, to be honest, because you do a really good job of like separating elements and creating a depth. And it's kind of weird to think now that you've been doing that this whole time with like almost no shadow. So this is cool.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good point, is that when you're working with flat colors like this, it's very important to consistently check your values because you need that separation. Here, I just turned on my black and white layer so we can see the value difference in everything. I don't need an outline. That's another thing, is that I very rarely outline things on the outside. I rely on my values to be able to show the contrast between the different shapes. So it helps with the silhouettes of my characters. It helps, like, for instance, like with these picture frames in the background and everything, you can still see the outline of every shape, even without the color.
Yeah.
So yeah, checking values is very important. I didn't used to do that at all. This is actually a more recent thing that I started doing within the probably only like the last year, but it has really changed how I see color, and it's really helped the quality of my work. So definitely check your values. We're going to be talking about that a little later too.
Cool beans. We also have some pretty fabulous comments in the chat. I'm going to scroll up real quick because Jan Hemmer, is it Jan Hemmer or Jan Hemmer? Says, can I just say I only recently got into the Adobe live streams and just love the community spirit here. Love watching you all work on these amazing designs. Well, welcome in, Jan or Jan. I apologize for not knowing exactly how to pronounce that, but please let me know because I'd like to get it right. And then we had another one that I really wanted to share. Yeah, Shauna's working on gallery pieces, it looks like, while she's hanging out. Looks like a few other people are chilling and doing some work. Golden Rose Bliss says that she's testing it out, so she's also illustrating and everything. And it looks like Fairy is kind of talking about how it says, I think Codi is more like how to create that illusion rather than how to make them look super realistic. And I think that's pretty cool. I agree. I think though that you do an excellent job, like kind of making items and characters that are, you know, because obviously there aren't cat people, or maybe there are, I don't know. But like you do a really good job of like putting in exactly what needs to be there in order to convey what something is, and then you make it your own after that, which is really cool. I hope that makes sense, because that's kind of like the vibe I get.
Wow, that means a lot to me, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Also, I wasn't able to personally say hi to everyone, but I do have the chat open as well. Hi Annika, Fairy, welcome everyone. It's so good to see you, and I'm glad you're joining the stream. So I'm actually, the reason that I have this specific piece out is because we're going to be stealing the color palette from it. I do that a lot of the time, where I'll open my old illustrations. Like if I come up with a color combination that I really like, I'll just go ahead and color pick the colors from my last illustration and use it again, but in a different way, in a different combination. So I wanted to talk about, see how you can see the texture and you can see the background color behind it there. So the background color is actually really important for the work that I do, because if this color was different, it would look completely different. Like if we change the background color to something different, let's lighten it and just color fill it. That's what it looks like if the background color was different.
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So it looks like chicken scratch, basically. Yeah, it's terrible. So I usually start with the background color, because that is kind of what sets the tone. It's almost like an underpainting. Like a lot of the time, like when a traditional artist wants a tone over the entire image, they'll kind of lightly do like a wash over the canvas. That's kind of the similar idea. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these layers, and I'm just going to go ahead and color pick this. And we are going to plop this behind the sketch. And I just do a color fill. I don't worry about the texture on the background, because all the texture is in everything above it. So I'm gonna let's up the opacity just so you guys can see the sketch a little better. And
Marissa is saying, I love how you did the window and gave it a foggy feel. I've been thinking that from the moment she pulled it up, Marissa, is that the cafe window that says coffee on it, that like has like the bokeh lights outside, like it's so cozy.
Yeah,
cozy.
That blurring effect is, I actually did this piece on my stream, so if you guys want to watch the progress of it, you can just check out my Behance. But that effect, I came up with that on the spot. I was just like experimenting, and really all it is just hard round spots with hard round brush with painted spots, and then I put on like it was either a focal blur or an iris blur or something like that, and then I just like painted some like foggy strokes over it to kind of make it look like it's glass, and that was it. Like it was super easy. Yeah,
that's so funny, because I honestly thought that you had used like a real picture and blurred a picture back there, but you did the dots, and it looks spot on. Like,
yeah, Photoshop is awesome.
Yeah, we like Photoshop here. It's chill. Yeah, it's all right. It's cool. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So in terms of like color picking, you guys, like for instance, like I said, for this piece, I'm probably mostly going to be picking from that other piece, but we might also pick from my color palettes. This is the current color palette that I'm using, and I like to have my color swatches saved over here. Just so I can very easily come back to them. These are all pretty much the only colors that I use in my illustrations. A lot of the time I'll like start with this color maybe and just like edit maybe the saturation and brightness a bit as I go. But these are all my starting points. The way that I came across my colors that I really love to use is just simply because I've always personally really loved earth tones. If you're struggling with trying to come up with colors that you like to use, I would really suggest looking at things that really inspire you, and also like thinking outside of artwork too, like the colors that you wear, or maybe your like dream home decor or things like that, things that you would want to put into your life, the colors that you would want to put into your life, those are probably the colors that you would want to use in your artwork. Like a lot of the time artists end up looking like their art. Like Val looks like Val, you dress like your artwork, you look like your artwork. Like
you're not wrong.
Art imitates life, you guys. Like
I strive for Darth Vader chic everywhere I go. I'm trying to be like, you know, very fashionista, but also Sith Lord. I try.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys are struggling with that, like look in other aspects of your life and be like, okay, like what color is my notebook? Like what color do I gravitate towards when I go to buy something at a store? Like those are probably the colors that you would want to start gravitating towards in your own artwork. So
spoiler alert, it's purple for me every time. It's purple,
burnt orange.
Yeah, burnt orange, maybe a charcoal black, something like that, but mostly, yeah. And I don't know about Codi, but I suspect she likes earth tones. It's possible she's into like a soft brown or a warm orange, or a nice green, maybe possible.
But you guys can actually see the progress in my developing my color palette. Like I actually just developed this palette at the end of last year. So it's actually been less than a year that I've been using these colors. Okay. This, if I scroll down here, this was actually my older palette that I was using beforehand. You can see how much brighter the colors are. But as I became more comfortable using darker and moody tones, because that was kind of the direction that I was taking my artwork, I just became more comfortable. And finally, I was able to develop this palette over time. So like, again, like even if you don't feel like these are not the colors that I want to use, like you might be still just moving in that direction that you want to be, and just like try to be comfortable with where you're at, because you'll probably get there eventually. And I'm still developing my art too, you know.
Do you ever like pick from some of the old colors every once in a while, like to add a pop of color sometimes, or are you just strictly sticking with only the new palette that you developed?
I actually strictly stay to the new palette, with the exception of maybe I'll like take one of these colors and maybe I'll saturate it a little bit and lighten it or something if I want a bit of a pop. But yeah, if you look on my Instagram, every single piece of artwork made in the last year was made with this palette.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And also, if you guys notice that this, I actually don't ever really use the gradient color picker. For me personally, I just feel like I have more control with the HSB sliders, because I just pick a color, and if I feel like it needs to be a little bit more saturated, I'll just slide it over a little bit. If I feel like it needs to be a little bit darker, I'll just slide that, change the hue. So I just personally like using that more. So if you guys are having difficulty with the gradient picker, I would definitely suggest HSB, or vice versa. If you're struggling with HSB, try the color picker too, because I really struggled picking my colors with the gradient for a long time until I discovered the HSB sliders.
It looks like Laura Staneva. Hello, Laura. It's good to see you. Are these colors saved into libraries? I've been wondering how I can save more than 5 colors in one collection. And I believe they're swatches, aren't they?
Yes, these. Yeah. So let's see. I can actually just show you guys. So if you wanted to save a new swatch, just color pick it. Make sure it's in your foreground color. And then let's see. I think it's right here. So I have my little swatches panel open. and then go here, new swatch preset. You can name it whatever you like, and then press OK, and then it's in here. And so you can I just put it into a folder. And whoops.
I did not know you could actually put them into a folder, because I don't use swatches a lot, but after seeing how organized and easy it is to access like your preferred moods and colors for your pieces, I think I may actually do this. Like,
it's really helpful. I actually, again, saving my swatches is a new thing for me. I just started doing this in the last year. I used to exclusively only open a piece of artwork and take my colors from another piece of artwork. But what I realized is that I was actually limiting myself that way, because I wasn't looking at all of the colors that I use at one time. I was only looking at those specific colors. And once I put them all into swatches, I was able to see my entire palette at one time.
That's a really good point, is like you kind of get the full scope of what is there in the piece, rather than, you know, for example, if you were looking at a piece that's like, you know, a bear in the woods, and if the bear is like the focal point, you might focus more on the colors that makes up that bear and maybe miss some of the background, like supporting colors, if that is a thing, if something can be a supporting color. Yeah, you might, you know, not see the full breadth and scope of what's available to you. So this kind of gives you a nice way to do that. I think personally, I would like to do it just because I don't stick to like a very particular color palette, even if you look at my portfolio and it's all black and purple. I do use different colors sometimes, but I kind of struggle choosing colors and finding ways to kind of set the mood, so to speak. So it would be really cool, I think, for me just to have a color palette that is like sorted in folders by mood, so that I can go in and do that whenever I want to change something up. So I think I'm definitely going to be taking this with me into my own workflow for sure.
Awesome.
I'm pretty pumped about it. And now I get to watch Codi do the infamous chalky scratches here. Texture. And it is so satisfying. I just want like an ASMR video of you just coloring in the background of something and just telling me that my ideas are nice, I am creative, and everything's going to be okay. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Only
I want
happy
Codi Bear
accidents,
ASMR.
Friends. Only
yes,
happy accidents.
I want Codi Bear ASMR using the chalk brush. That's what I want.
Only happy accidents on Adobe Live.
Oh my god, that was really nice. that hit me in the feels. You gotta warn me. You gotta warn me before you do something like that, Codi. I'm waiting for chat to catch up because I know there's a slight delay, and I know everyone's going to be like, that was nice.
That was so nice.
That made me feel great. We can clearly see what being cohesive is in Codi's artwork. Yeah, absolutely. I think I would love to know as well, Codi, because looking at your Instagram and your website and how organized you are in your workflow here, I find that you seem to really have it together as far as that consistency, like sort of what Tunk is talking about. Like when I look at your work, I see a brand.
Oh, thank you.
I really do. I see like a serious identity to your work. And I wonder if that's something that you're thinking about always as you create and as you upload to your portfolio and stuff, or are you just kind of going with it and maybe do that after, or it just happens that what you're creating is all very cohesive and brand-ish, if that makes sense?
Honestly, I mean, yes, I definitely, it is very intentional. Especially when it comes to my Instagram. For the longest time, like I can actually just pull it up really fast for you guys so you guys can see it in context. Let me scroll down a little bit. Especially around the last part of last year, all of these were from my Inktober list. And just to make my page look really nice, I actually alternated light post and dark post, light post, dark post, light post, dark post.
Yeah.
And it kind of creates a grid, and it just makes your feed look really put together. I haven't done it in a hot minute, but it makes it look really nice. So if you guys are like really into Instagram and like making a really nice looking cohesive feed, I definitely suggest that. And
I'm
also
so sporadic with mine.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I just enjoy it. Honestly, I have a lot of fun with it. So, and sometimes yeah, sometimes it also forces me to get out of my comfort zone to try something else, because try something new, because like a lot of the time I have a tendency to do these light colored backgrounds, like the simple light colored background, but I'm like, oh, well, I need a dark post though. So it kind of like forces me out of my comfort zone. I'm like, okay, I need to come up with a new scene with a dark background. And that's actually how this one came to be, this darker
He's
background.
so cute. Like, I mean, you could have just drawn a regular bear looking for honey, but it's a bee bear looking for honey. Does he have a name of some kind?
I don't have a name for this one, actually. I actually owned this costume when I was in elementary school. It was my first Halloween costume when I was in 4th or 5th grade, and so I
I love it.
Yeah, this is just me showing through in my artwork, honestly. Life representing art, or art representing life, either way.
I love that we are friends, but also clearly two completely different kinds of people, because while your first costume was a bee, I was a ninja. My first Halloween costume, I was a ninja, but I couldn't decide being a ninja or a witch. So I was like a ninja with the witch hat and like the shoes. Yeah. So it was just very...
Val, I gotta say, I remember when we first met in person at the Adobe creative jam. I remember, I forget who said it, but I remember that somebody said that we hit it off so fast. We were like sisters, but we were like opposite twins, like because we're like complete same personality, like on the same wavelength, but aesthetics completely opposite.
And basically, when me and Codi met, she looked like she might, you know, put on a nice cup of tea and bring it to you, and I looked like I might slap it out of your hand with a lightsaber. But we had a great time. We had an excellent day.
Love that.
Let me scroll through and make sure I haven't missed anything. Yes, please check out Codi's Instagram. So Wade Acuff has put it. I don't know why I say Wade Acuff. I could just say Wade, but I always, do you do that?
It's like a celebrity. When you're talking about a celebrity, you always have to say their first name.
I always have to say Wade's full name. I'm sorry, Wade. Wade has put Codi's Instagram in the chat. Please check it out. You will not regret it, because it's a wonderful place to be. Annika is posting Codi Bear, but putting the SM between the A and R, so it's Codi Bear SMR. I don't know how you would say that out loud, but it looks funny. It looks great. Bear in a bee costume, so cute. Yes, I agree, Umacorn. And Jess is having a great time, it sounds like.
Hi, Jess.
In the chat. Jess is cackling. And if Jess is cackling, everything is great.
Yes, so absolutely. Oh no, I just made a accidental stroke.
Oh, I do that all the time, where you like you click and then you press shift and just click, like, and it just drags across. Yeah, and you're like, oh no, what have I done? I did that one time on a really important painting, and it was before I discovered the joys of working non-destructively. And I thought, well, I know that I'm not going to change this painting. I'll just flatten it all.
Oh no.
I'll just flatten the whole 27-hour piece.
Oh my goodness.
That I made. And I flattened it, not realizing that I had drawn a line across the face. And then I did it. I flattened it. I saved it. I shut Photoshop. I came back the next day and realized that the stroke was there. So I couldn't go back or undo. I didn't have another version of it. So I had to sit there for another hour and like paint out.
Oh my
one stroke
goodness.
That was like across the face of this character. It was pretty bad. I do that all the time to myself. Now I check, and I use smart objects and groups, and I save another file with a previous version.
My goodness. Cautionary tale, you guys.
Yes. Save your work, hydrate, stretch.
Save your work. I haven't saved yet. Okay.
Don't flatten your images without a backup.
So I actually wanted to talk to you guys about this brush. So as you can see, I'm kind of drawing in a way that obviously allows the texture to show through. And I'm using a small brush. Like if I were to use a bigger sized brush, the texture most likely wouldn't show through, because the texture on this brush is mostly around the edge. So using a small brush allows me to just make thin strokes. And I'm also, the technique that I do, kind of like the scratchiness, I also am constantly kind of turning my canvas and working in a different direction. Like changing my strokes. Like, as you can see, some of these strokes are going this way, some of the strokes are going this way, all different directions. And I'm also, despite the fact that I'm working digitally, I am working in a technique that's similar to traditional, where I'm going around my sketch rather than painting right over top of it. And I do that because it allows the texture to go around each piece and it makes it look more traditional.
Yeah, I'm like kind of watching how you're doing this here, and you really are like, you're not just coloring in the space, you're not just filling it with the texture, you're very deliberately like giving it its own unique kind of vibe and texture as you go here. And I think it does, like, now that I'm seeing how you're doing it and looking, I imagine that the way that you do this probably draws the eye in a very subtle way to a lot of the smaller elements in the background, because you can kind of see those strokes in the texture kind of going around, and then it probably leads the eye, you know, around your piece a little bit.
Yeah, it almost kind of like it almost kind of frames the character. You can see the strokes like going around the hat and everything like that.
Yeah, I love this. I think frames is a really good way to say that. I was looking for a word. I think that's a perfect word. Annika says, okay, that answers my question. Excellent. Colleen says, if only life had a Command Z, I'd wear those keys out. Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Specifically when I'm putting on eyeliner.
Oh, yes.
Or eyeshadow, and then I'm just like applying it until like it just gets darker and darker and darker and darker and darker around my eyes.
Gotta keep blending, like, blending.
I guess today's a cosplay day, because I don't think this is normal makeup. Let me go. Oh, what is Tunk asking for? Tunk is asking best design off Val and Codi. That was fun. That was fun.
I remember that.
We made monsters, didn't we? I believe we made monsters or something.
We did this. I think that was the second day. I remember making an astronaut bear with tentacles.
Yeah.
And the first day I made a punk cat.
Yeah. So the astronaut bear with the tentacles ended up being like so freaking cute and so adorable. And if I remember correctly, like my piece was just like nightmare fuel. And it was just like, we're kind of doing the same prompt here, but like this is not the same kind of end product.
I'm curious to see what you made again, because I don't remember. That was so long. That was like a year ago.
Either. I would have to go and look on like in my files. I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest. I wonder if I have it. I'll peek over here real quick just to see if I can remember what it was, because I don't. Yours was like extra memorable for me. Like that's what I remember from it. My favorite design off piece is still Bunbuncula. Yes.
Here's the bear astronaut.
Oh my gosh. He's so precious. Look at him. And the taco. I forgot about the taco.
Yeah. We got suggestions from chat, everyone. This is the culmination of everyone in chat, basically.
Let me see. I'm trying to... You know what? It might have been on my other computer. I had a computer crash about a year ago.
No.
And I lost some files. So yeah, I'm looking in my design off thing here, and the oldest one that I have was the episode I did with Kat Willett. So I think that was after you and I. So I don't think I have it anymore.
Aww.
Unfortunately, yeah. Sad days. But that just means that we now have a reason to make strange creatures together again.
Exactly.
So we'll be fine. We'll just get it going again. Val made like a chicken fuzzy-headed creature and with a boombox. Did I?
I literally don't remember that.
I don't remember any of that. I feel like I would, but also maybe I wouldn't, because I can't remember what I did and it was my show. So I don't know if I'm reliable here. I did a school design competition for Indonesia's 76th birthday in school. I had only 40 minutes to design a poster about Independence Day during COVID. Oh, interesting, Fairy.
Wow.
How did that go? That sounds like a serious challenge.
40 minutes? Wow, that's crazy.
Annika says, "Oh my god, the tentacles aren't even making the bear look scary." No, I don't think that. I think it's like a superpower with Codi. She can make the cutest thing, and like arguably a bear with tentacles flying around in space with like a taco that has a face and angry eyes. That's bizarre and horrifying. But I kind of want to put Cody's rendition on my wall.
I kind of want to see your version of that, Val. Like your draw this in your style version of a terrifying bear tentacle.
Oh my gosh, it would be, honestly, I don't think we would be in the same genre at all. I think it would be yours is adorable. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll attempt it and just like put a warning on it.
Could cause nightmare fuel.
Yeah, could cause nightmares. This is a source of terror. Please proceed with caution. Codi doesn't make scary looking things. No, I don't know that I've ever seen Codi make something I mean, I've seen you draw scary things, but you make them really sweet and palatable.
I don't know if I'm capable of it, honestly, like, because there's a darker side of me that like loves darker art like you do, Val, and like more like just like growing up, I used to love like dark twisted versions of Alice in Wonderland and stuff like that, like Alice American McGee. Yeah, absolutely. Like I love that kind of stuff. I cannot make it to save my life.
Oh, that's so funny. Honestly, now I would love to see you do like a little portrait of American McGee's Alice, like just in your style with like the knife and the dress and everything. Yeah. That would be adorable. That would be so cute. Way to go, Fairy. You got to do the draw this in your style now, Val. We may just have to. Let me see. Pretty good. Got second place, and I know one of my juniors, which is a really great artist, that I want to put an artist spotlight. Oh, cool. Yes, please. Submit them for the artist spotlight, and that goes for anybody. Come over to Behance if you're over on YouTube. Just a reminder, this is where we're hanging out. It's where the artist spotlight tab is. It's where all of the resources and things we talk about and share are posted in the chat, and where you can make a lot of awesome friends. So yeah, come on over to behance.net/live, but you can click on the artist spotlight. Anybody is welcome to do this, and you can either nominate yourself or another artist that you would like to see in a future spotlight. And I also want to say, I always say, like, nominate yourself or another artist. It is super okay to nominate yourself if you would like a spotlight. I would say our general rules for artist spotlight tab, the unspoken rules, is just like, you know, don't spam links through. I promise you, every time you submit a link through the artist spotlight tab, whether it's yours or another designer's, all you have to do is send it the once, because our team is very attentive to the list and they go through, and you might not see, you know, because we have to choose and go through everything that everybody submits. And it might take a while before we get around to certain portfolios, but we really do look at every single one. So if you have not submitted your own portfolio and you've been wanting a spotlight, please do, because we will continue to consider your work as time goes on. And if you have a friend or know of somebody that you would love to see highlighted, like Fairy's talking about, please submit them as well, because we will keep them in the pool until we are able to get around to a spotlight one day. Jane says, I wouldn't dare. You wouldn't nominate yourself? Well, Jane,
maybe I'll just nominate you then.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to just nominate you. You better watch out. We don't take too kindly to people not being kind about their own art in this chat.
Exactly.
You better watch out. You might get a bunch of compliments.
Watch out.
Yeah, you better watch out. We might just be nice to you. You better calm down. And that spotlight is in about 53 minutes, by the way. So we've got our little, or wait, hold on. I'm looking at the stream and not at our live feed. So it's probably sooner than that. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so, you know, it's going to be coming up pretty soon. I'm really excited to see who today's is. I'm excited to show you, I should say, rather. I'm pretty pumped. A lot of my favorite colors going on, but I'm not going to spoil it. I'm gonna leave some mystery to it for you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh no, don't be nice. I might cry. Jane. Yeah, you better watch out. That's what happens here. You show up, you get complimented. Watch out, folks. You're aiming for a heap of compliments with that attitude from Wade. Better watch out, everybody. We don't play around here.
Instead of the ban hammer, it's the compliment hammer.
Yeah. I went in there to troll and they're really nice. I made a bunch of friends. I'm very confused. I don't know how this happens. Bliss says, but maybe the cute can be the scary part, as far, I think, talking about like making scary cute art. You could I think that's kind of like what Codi tends to do, though, even with things that are like, I mean, I would argue even that bears are kind of scary, but like Codi is obviously not scary, and all of the bears I see here are creatures I would love to get a little hug. Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but you're not terrifying, Codi, and I just wanted to publicly state that. We all accept you as not horrifying. I love yes.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that's kind of what Codi does, though, because I think, everything that she does is just so wholesome and cozy and warm. And I think that now that we've had this entire conversation, I'm definitely going to take some of the cozy, warm, adorable things that Codi does and just make them nightmares. Yes. I'm gonna have to try it.
Do it.
We're gonna do it. Yes, she's using the Conte crayon.
Yes.
And that is from, maybe you can kind of explain where you got your brushes again, just for anyone that wants to try it out.
So I use Kyle Webster's brushes. You can get them for free if you have a CC sub. I use Conte Crayon. It's from Kyle's drawing box. I believe it's in the mega pack. And if you just open the brush menu and you go to the gear icon, you go down to get more brushes, it'll open your browser and it'll allow you to download any of his packs. I pretty much only use this brush, and then Happy HB is also in the mega pack, and that is my sketching brush that I use. And then I also, for every once in a while, I'll use watercolor brushes, like this brush, 500 Giant from his watercolor pack. We'll be using that in a second when we do our lighting trick. Mm-hmm. And I also really love Natural Edge Painter when I'm just wanting to add like some shadow. This one, let's do a darker color. This one is like on multiply layer, and it just kind of like it just like blends really nicely. And I
love that. Oh
yeah, that's actually the brush that I used on, if I can find my file, this one right here.
Oh, okay.
Just to add a little bit of depth there.
Yeah, it definitely gave it like kind of a different texture, but it goes together. Mm-hmm. Like it's not such a drastic change that it's like kind of jarring. Like it just really made that look really buttery. And nice. I like it. I think, what I'd like to know, just because I haven't been sure about this in the past, and that is, hold on, let me pull this back up. So did Kyle T. Webster make the Keith Haring brushes?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Because I wasn't sure if he had made those as well, and I think that is my favorite Kyle pack myself.
Yeah, that pack is awesome.
He has the vinyl scraper brush in that, and I literally every single bit of the Animal Crossing art I have done, I use that vinyl scraper brush.
Yes, that is so funny, because I downloaded that pack recently and I was going through all of them and I was like, oh, it's Val's brush.
Oh, that's so funny. You know what? That was kind of like, because there's a while back where I had like that textury chalky brush for a while, and I felt so bad because it was like, I didn't make the brush, but everybody was like, what's that brush you're using? And I was like, here's the brush. And it was an artist that had posted their brush pack on ArtStation, and I kept linking his portfolio, like, he made this brush, this is his brush, and everyone was like, can I get the Val brush? And I'm like, no, I didn't make it. It's not mine. It's Kyle T. Webster made this brush. But yeah, I think that honestly, the same could be said for you though, because I will always probably, even though this is a Kyle brush, I will always associate you with this texture. So, and I think there's a few people, like I definitely have seen styles and textures and things that like Sam uses or Wade uses, where I'm just like, that's a them thing. And so when I see this technique or I see this kind of brush, like I feel like, oh, this is one of their things.
Kind of going back to the whole branding conversation that we were having. It's a part of the brand.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have a vibe. And so now when I see this, I've actually heard Kyle say Conte Crayon, and then I'm like, Cody?
Cody?
Cody? I've heard that before. I think Cody uses this. Let me see, I didn't see that link. Yeah, check out that link. That is just all of the brushes that, I don't know if it's every single brush that Kyle has ever made, but it's pretty much most of them, I would imagine.
Most of them, at least. Yeah.
I like to imagine that when Kyle is alone, that he's just like a mad scientist in a lab, just conjuring new brushes and like really perfecting them, and that there's twice as many brushes that we haven't seen because they're much too powerful for the general population.
Absolutely.
He hasn't released them yet because he doesn't know if we can handle it or not.
Yeah.
I was looking for the vinyl brush that Val uses but couldn't find it. It is that link that that Wade put into the chat that says Kyle T. Webster brushes. If you click that link, on the very first row, there is a pack called the Keith Haring inspired brushes, and it is a person holding a paintbrush, and you can see a man's face reflected in the metal part of the brush. Download that. There is a brush in that pack called Vinyl Scraper, but it's actually kind of incognito, because if you are looking, I couldn't find it once I changed my view of my brushes, because you know how sometimes you can see like the shape of the brush when you're previewing brushes, or you can see the stroke that it makes. The shape of the brush doesn't really look like it would be that brush, and the stroke that it makes is actually super minimal. When you see the preview, and not at all how it looks when I use it in my particular way. So you have to look for it by name. It's kind of inconspicuous. You just went to the bottom of the window without going outside the lines. Is there a secret for that? I am new to digital art mostly. I draw and paint. Do you mean to the bottom? Oh, like of the actual window she's painting? Or the edge of the canvas?
Yeah, I actually haven't been using any clipping masks or anything like that. I'm just turning my canvas and just painting within. I'm coloring within the lines. I'm basically just coloring a coloring book at this point. That's kind of just my coloring technique. But I was actually good transition. I can show you guys what I like to do a lot of the time, like with this brick, for instance. I was like, okay, well, I tried that color, but I don't really like it. But I also don't really want to redraw it. So what I'm gonna do is I press this little checkerboard button right here next to the word lock, and see how it has a little lock symbol on the layer now. So that locks the transparency. So now I can go, let's pick a different color here.
Ooh, I like to see this done.
And a lot of the time I'll do this in hard round so the system doesn't have to render the texture. It goes a lot faster. And now I can change, maybe I'll change the color so you guys can see it better. Now I can change the color of this brick without going outside the lines. So this is lock transparency. There's another way to do that too, using clipping masks, which I can show you guys. So if we make a new layer, just really fast, let's just pick a color. We got this green color here. So let's say we didn't want to go outside the lines of this shape, but we also wanted to do that on a separate layer so we don't ruin the shape underneath. So we can make a new layer over top of it. If you hold Alt and move your mouse in between both layers until you see that little drop down arrow, then click. So now this layer is inside of this shape. So now we can use the clipping mask to paint inside of the shape, but it's on a separate layer.
I thought that I was the queen of clipping masks until you just showed me that draggy thing that I did not know about. I honestly did not know that you could just, you said, did you say you clicked and then just drug up to the one that you wanted to become a clipping mask?
So, okay, I'll do it again. Let's just back up. So I just made a new layer. New layer. Let's back up. Okay. So here's our little green circle. Make a new layer. So now it's over top of that layer. Hold Alt and move your mouse in between the two until you get the little drop down arrow. Then click. And now it's a clipping mask.
What? I was just like actually right clicking and saying create clipping mask every time, and I could have been doing this the whole time. My mind
just
is
hold
blown.
Alt. It's super easy.
What?
And then when you want to add another layer, like say you wanted to have multiple clipping masks, make a new layer, click and drag this underneath, and you can move these back and forth if you want to change
that's awesome.
up and down.
See, usually what I do when I use clipping masks is I will make a clipping mask above the whatever the shape, like for example you made that first clipping mask over the circle, and then I just select the actual circle in this case that you're clipping to, and then I can just do the hotkey for create new layer, and because there's a clipping mask above it, it will always create new clipping masks in between every time I create a new layer with that hotkey, because if you are doing it, so I just leave that as an empty clipping mask up above, and because it's there, it will always convert anything below it and in between that initial base shape. It will always make it a clipping mask. But so that's like easier, but this is nice just because I didn't know that I could do that so quick. And I had started doing that, you know, making that empty clipping mask layer because it was a little tedious and like a lot of extra time to like right click, find it in the layer and the drop down and do it. So this is great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's so funny how many different ways there are to do the same thing in Photoshop, and then you see somebody else do it a different way and you're like, whoa, my mind is blown. I thought there was only one way to do this. Like
yeah, I'm just like and I feel like I say this a lot, but Photoshop really is a program where you can use it for one thing for an entire career and like only be using like a teeny tiny part of it, because there's so many other places to be in Photoshop and things to do and ways to do something. So you really can, like, if you get in, you really can find like the easiest way to do something that makes the most sense for you and your own process, and totally develop a completely different workflow to somebody else's, even if you guys are kind of doing like a similar thing, which is just really interesting to me. So I've been demoted from the queen of clipping masks, and now I have to learn from clipping mask master Codi.
Mask master.
Mask master, yes. If I ever have any hope of becoming a mask master myself once again. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be very Star Wars. It's going to be very like Jedi Padawan kind of vibe here. We're going to go stand out on top of a mountain, and she's going to like put me through drills and stuff of like
I'm
how
ready
to do this. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you've accepted. I've been looking for a teacher for so long to teach me in the ways of the art force. So this is perfect.
Okay, all right, you guys. So I think I'm going to show you guys the lighting trick now. A lot of the time, I like to do it before I get too far into my coloring. Sometimes I'll do it first, believe it or not, just because it kind of, in my mind, helps me set the mood of the illustration, and it just tells me where the light's coming from. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to put this lighting layer is going to be above everything. Actually, I might even put it into a group because sometimes I have multiple layers, and I'm going to color code my groups. As you can see, I don't label my layers, but a lot of the time I do label groups and I color code groups. So if you would like to know how to color code groups, it's easy. Just right click, then go down to any of these colors and pick whatever color you like. So I'm going to do yellow because it's lighting. And on the layer, I'm going to right click and I'm going to pick this Kyle's Real Watercolor 500 Giant brush, just because it has kind of like it's kind of like a foggy texture. It's really in all reality meant for like watercolor wash. And you can pretty much use whatever brush you want as long as it kind of has like the fluffy edges like a cloud. So it blends really easily. And then in the blending mode of the layer, not the brush, that's important because it doesn't work if it's the brush, but the blending mode of the layer, we're going to change to overlay. And we're going to take this really light yellow color, really bright, light yellow color. But because it's on overlay, it's not going to show up as super really bright yellow like that. It's going to take on the colors underneath it. And we are just going to brush in.
Oh, that's so satisfying to
the
watch.
Lighting. It is really satisfying. It's like it like breathes sudden life into the illustration. It's like, wow.
Oh man.
And of course you could do it with any color lighting. I just happen to always gravitate towards warm lighting, but like if you wanted this to be like, let's say you wanted to change the time of day or something, like we could do like obviously the window color is the wrong color, but we could bring in a different color of light.
Yeah. Like
into the window.
Kind of thing, or that's cool.
So you could do it for any kind of atmosphere that you're trying to achieve in your artwork.
I don't know if you know this, Shauna or Cody, but Shauna has named you DJ Mask Master Cody. So you are now a DJ?
Yes. That's my life's goal complete.
Yes. Success. This is the moment that she's been waiting for. Just now that she is a DJ. So what does that sound like though? Codi Bear DJ music? Is it just like cottagecore? Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't quite catch that. Can we get that one more time? Oh yes. Okay. I'm down. I'm into it. I'm vibing with it. That's good for me. Let me scroll through here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Also, we are coming up on about 35 minutes. Is that what our timer says? I think, yeah. Until our artist spotlight. So if you are interested to stick around for the spotlight or to kind of share a link of your own portfolio or someone else's, please check out the tab above the chat. If you're over on YouTube, please come over to behance.net/live because that's where we're hanging out and that's where you can find out more information on that. Would be so fun to paint a stained glass window using overlays. Oh yes, I totally agree. That would be great.
That would be awesome.
I would love to see you do stained glass. Have you done any like that before?
No, I haven't actually, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I think that you could really rock that for sure.
Also, you guys, I wanted to mention, I pretty much never use eraser. I only ever use clear mode on my brush. So if I want to sculpt back something, like for instance, the light is going to be coming directly through this window. So I kind of want to make it look a little bit more direct in the shape that it would be coming through the window. So I'm going to clean up the edge a little bit and I just changed it to clear mode. So it's not super harsh, but I can kind of just like give that lighting a little bit of an edge.
So that's really funny because when I do the like Animal Crossing-esque kind of illustrations, which I think is just like the one style that I have started to develop that is just so vastly different from the other kinds of art that I do. I use clear. I do not use the eraser. I do the eraser for like more of the like portrait-y, like semi-real kind of paintings. But yeah, when I try to do a style that is similar to this, where you're kind of like clipping to shapes and like building something, I am using clear. So that's funny that it kind of translates that way.
Yeah. What makes you want to change that? Like what made you want to use clear mode on the Animal Crossing images and not the portrait work?
I wanted to use the vinyl scraper brush and I put the paint down on the canvas. I got it all like set up the way that I wanted to, but I only wanted the texture of that specific brush. I did not want like to have that texture go out and then erase with like a soft round brush or something that gave it a different texture. When you are able to use the clear brush, you have the exact same shape as the brush you just used, subtracting from itself, and it keeps it consistent. So
Yeah, when you're using a texture brush that has a very obvious texture, it's also very obvious when you try to erase it with like a hard round or a soft round. So it really stands out. So just erasing it with itself, with the shape of it, same shape, it helps it blend in a lot better.
It's almost like you put it there exactly as is the first time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So
yeah,
Wade is saying you can hold the tilde key as a toggle for the clear brush. I tried that the other day and it didn't work for me. And I wonder, maybe I just needed something updated or something, but does that work for you?
It works for me. However, I'm left-handed and the tilde key is on the left side. So I could probably re-keybind it, but I just haven't.
That makes sense. Okay.
It would probably help me a lot if I did. I just haven't built it into my workflow. But yeah, it doesn't really work because I'd have to reach over my keyboard to be able to use it with my right hand.
I'm actually super curious about something now that I did not ever think of until you just said the sentence that you said. You said you were gonna see if you could re-keybind it, and I have never considered that you could keybind it, because I had asked Paul Tranny once, hey, is there a way to make a hotkey for the clear mode on a brush? And he was like, I don't think so. And then now that I know that it's tilde, I wonder if I could make it a different.
I think you just have to make it an action. Like you have to record it as an action. Okay. Unless you can just re-keybind the tilde. Otherwise, I think I've heard of artists doing it, like recording it as an action. Like for instance, like I think I have, or I did at one point. I don't know if it's still, it's not working. But I had flip canvas horizontal as as a keybinded or a recorded action saved, so I could use it quickly as a keybind.
I am actually going to take a peek and see if it is something in the shortcuts that I can actually change.
Oops.
We're gonna find out. As long as finding out doesn't take too long, so I won't do this forever, but I am gonna peek real quick. I'm thinking that would be not filter. I'm wondering what this would be under. I'm not sure, to be honest. I might save it for later and check it out. But if anybody else in chat wants to experiment a little bit, because I just don't want to seem distracted here. Ooh, I gotta say, those are some buttery lines you were drawing right now. That is so satisfying to look at.
It kind of almost looks like pencil eyeliner, going on.
It does. Oof. Yep, I like it. I'm into it. So yeah, I think maybe because I'm actually not sure exactly where I would find that in the keybinds, but I know that I could probably look for it, and if somebody in chat wants to experiment a little bit and see if they can find it, please do. I'm left-handed too, but I have my keyboard to the right side of me when working on a tablet, so I can use my right hand for the shortcuts. Got it.
Oh.
Stony is also a lefty. So Gareth and Stony. Anybody
Lefties
else?
unite.
Oh, Marissa too.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, for some reason Paul Tranny's a left-handed too. I feel
I
feel like a lot of people in Adobe Live are left-handed for some reason. It's very strange.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know that I've ever just been surrounded by so many people who are left-handed at one time, because it's not extra common. Really? Is it? I don't know. Maybe I don't know how common it is for people to use their left hand, but I feel like most people I encounter are right-handed. Deanna's left-handed too. What's happening? They're taking over. Why? Uma Korn is also a lefty. This is ridiculous.
Oh, so I also wanted to show you guys how when I'm doing this very direct bright light, of course there would also be some drop shadows, right? There's going to be some almost ambient occlusion shadows, but just or cast shadows, but it just drops off really quickly, and it kind of gives it a little bit of a form like I did here on the faces of the cats and stuff like that. And also underneath the table, I erased all of the excess because it wouldn't be showing in those shadowy places. Shadowy places makes me think of Lion King. What's that shadowy place?
Simba, you must never go there.
So I just take Conte crayon, like for instance, like with these vases, the light wouldn't necessarily be showing through if these vases, I mean, they would be if they're glass, but let's just pretend that they're solid. Okay. The lighting, oops, wrong. Oh, I'm on normal. Let's go back to clear mode. Here we go. And we're just going to erase the light behind the vase. And what's cool about just erasing it is that if you're going for like warm light, cool shadows, it just kind of automatically does that because erasing the warm light makes the shadow cool toned.
Yeah, this is super cool. I love that you kind of leave like a little bit like sort of around. It just gives it that nice, like, honestly, it is like, in a sense, it's kind of a realism because you are following rules,
right?
But you've kind of put your own spin on them so that you can kind of create your own fictional world that registers as something that is real and works to people when they look at it, because you have, done these subtle things that just make it all so good. So I'm loving it right now. I'm super into this. It's very cozy. I don't know that a person can look at your art and not feel super cozy, though, to be honest.
It's intentional.
Okay, cool.
I really like I like giving people that feeling. And it also, honestly, it just kind of like comes out of me naturally. I just, like I was saying yesterday on the stream, like one of my biggest inspirations as a kid and as an adult, especially for my artwork, has always been Winnie the Pooh. So just like, I just love the characters and the backgrounds for Winnie the Pooh. I don't know if you guys have never seen like Winnie the Pooh as an adult, but if you go rewatch a Winnie the Pooh movie and look at the backgrounds and just appreciate it as like an art appreciator, the backgrounds are gorgeous. They're like ink and watercolor. Oh my gosh, they're beautiful. And just the personalities of the characters in Winnie the Pooh are just super cute too.
I'm a big Winnie the Pooh fan. And I know that that's not very Sith Lord of me to say because I'm a tough, scary girl, but I love Winnie the Pooh. And I used to watch the movies, and I used to watch there was a show on Disney for a while, and I still, to this day, like I did it this week, I was just bopping around my house like bumbly tumbly climbing the honey tree.
Like, totally.
Like, just doing my thing, just jamming out to some Winnie the Pooh. I love Winnie the Pooh. And also the voice actor for Winnie the Pooh sometimes reads Darth Vader lines at conventions. I don't know.
Cummings. Oh yeah, he's great.
He's awesome.
My husband and I
actually
actually met him at New York Comic Con one year. We got a picture with him.
No way! Yeah. Oh, that's so cool! Oh my goodness. I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah,
he seems so like awesome. He gives really good hugs. Like I feel like he would. Let's see. It dawned on me while playing Pictionary online that I couldn't draw with a mouse because I have always drawn with my left. You know what? I've actually seen people like do straight up paintings with their mice, and that's
crazy.
I don't know. I mean,
so impressive.
Like if you think about it, though, like at least I know that concept artists from back in the day, they just kind of had to like figure it out. You know what I mean? Like they just kind of had to do what they could do. And that's crazy to me now, and I feel like I'm pretty darn spoiled because I have a tablet to use. So like,
so true.
But like I have actually seen people kind of like get a job done with a mouse, and I'm like, I don't know how you did this. I don't understand how you made this happen. I have the Tao of Pooh book. Winnie the Pooh is the best. The Bambi watercolor, especially in the April shower scene. Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yep. I also know every word to the Tigger song because it's a great song. There's so many wonderful things about Tigger.
That's true.
Especially the fact that he's the only one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if for those of you that don't know, fun fact, Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh, is also the voice of Tigger.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
No, he's not. No. I love him even more now. I don't know. I didn't know that all this time. Oh. When I first learned digital painting, I painted with a mouse. It was hard as heck, and I would not be able to do it now. I used to do that too. I don't know if anybody, when they were kids, used a program. Sometimes schools had this program called KidPix.
KidPix? Oh yeah,
dude. I loved KidPix so much, and like so many times I tried to use it, but you know how kids are, where they're just like, actually, it's my turn on the computer.
Yeah.
You're gonna be next week, and I'm like, it's been gonna be my turn next week for like 5 weeks now.
Yeah,
I'm going to use KidPix today. I was territorial about KidPix, and I remember sitting down and like drawing all kinds of stuff with the mouse, because you know, you in the computer labs at school, you don't have like a fancy, you know, tablet or anything. You just have, you know, you just bop around with like the spray paint brush and like put some little X's and O's and things and all the cool brushes they had. But yeah, like I spent hours, any chance I got, drawing with a mouse in KidPix. And now if somebody's like, did you do this with a mouse? I'm like, God, no, never. I've never painted with a mouse in my life. We were out there though, in the hard times.
For sure. Back in our day.
Yeah, with KidPix and the Mac, Mac, you know, remember the Macs that just were like made out of that like old yellowy green khaki plastic?
Yes.
You know, like a good khaki computer, and it had like one rectangle button on the mouse, and you're like, is this one button or is it two? I don't know how this works. It's a big deal. You are putting some serious stank on that window right now.
For sure.
I'm loving every moment of it. It looks, it's very good.
Yeah, I actually doubled up on this layer, the original layer that we made. So this is what it looked like. And then I made another layer. I copied and pasted it, and then just turned the opacity down because I wanted it to be a little bit brighter, but not that bright. So I just turned the opacity down a little bit. And now I'm just kind of filling in some more space, making it on a separate layer. Kind of made it a little bit more bright, kind of like centralizing the light here coming from the candle.
Yeah, right there on the flame.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks good.
And it's possible, if I wanted to add more light, I might either just kind of add a little bit more on her face, because obviously she's the focal point because she's the character. So I want to make sure that she's well lit. But if I wanted more light in the scene too, I could maybe just add like a little candle sconce on the wall here or something, maybe. So like, yeah, if you're ever like thinking like, oh, actually my original composition isn't really working, this lighting, because you want the direct lighting, just like be like, okay, well, what else could I add? Or I could add like a little hanging pendant light, kind of like I did in this scene too. Something like that.
I love just that hanging light though, that you put like the little loop-de-loop around where it connects there, and like the loop-de-loop in the actual light bulb. It's also, it's just, you have an attention to detail. Like I feel like I've said this so many times, so tell me if I'm gushing too much, but like where you really take into consideration the rules of what something looks like and make it your own, because that is undeniably, I feel like I'm looking at a metal lamp that I have seen before, but it's a drawing and there's cat people sitting around it. So it's not real, but it's definitely real to me in my brain when I see it.
Yeah. Also, looking up reference helps a lot when you're trying to get those little tiny details like that, because I can guarantee you that if I hadn't been looking at reference for like lamps like this, I probably wouldn't have added all of these little details, like the little spiral like that and stuff like that. And I also really love Edison bulbs, the ones with the like the filaments in them. Yeah. So I always really love to draw the little filaments in the light bulb. And I can guarantee you also, I forgot what a fork looked like when I was doing this illustration, so I had to look up reference for a fork. I was like drawing it on stream, of course, on camera. I'm like, what does a fork look like?
Somebody help me.
Help.
What is a fork?
Yeah, so don't feel bad about looking up reference. Just always remember Cody forgot what a fork looks like.
Okay, cool. I also never spell anything correctly whenever I'm streaming artwork. So I mean, people have flaws. We get over it. We look up reference. We get where we need to go.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I started drawing on. Sat there in the library while I was in class at UWP, Macintosh Forever. I was into the like using Mac products for a long time just because they looked really cool. Like when I was a kid, and I remember I went to this new school that had a computer lab with those Mac computers where you could like see through them, and they were in different colors.
Yeah.
You know, there's like blue and green and red, and you could like see all the parts through like the colored plastic and stuff. And I was like, when I'm a grown up, I am going to only have Mac products because these are so cool. I just want like a whole setup that's all Apple. And then I grew up and I was like, I can't play video games on this.
Right, exactly.
I was like, I'm gonna need a PC for my Skyrim. So they still have my heart, and they still remind me of the Kid Pix days. But I am actually a PC gal. What about MS Paint? Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure we've all checked out MS Paint. Legally Blonde is what made me want a Mac. I'm not surprised this is coming from Shauna. I'm not surprised this is coming from Shauna. That is a very Shauna sentence. This is so very funny. In character for you, Shauna. I adore you. You're great.
It's on brand.
Yes, it's very on brand. You kids these days with your mice and drawing apps. When I started, you had to write text commands to draw each line. Okay, Steven. Okay.
I wrote on a stone tablet.
Yeah, I had to chisel this into the earth. Skyrim. Jimon, yo, what's up? Yes, Skyrim's a Val, the voice of reason. I don't know why I read that in that voice, because Wade's never sounded like that in his whole life. But yes, maybe I'm just out here trying to talk about the differences. Because people ask you that. I think like as a designer, people are like, well, you know, which Mac are you working on?
Yeah,
I'm like the non-Mac that
the Mac that's games. Not a Mac.
Yeah. But I think I went into the studio one time and everyone had their Mac, and I like brought a gaming laptop and everyone was like, what is that?
Ooh, what is like, that?
Don't worry about it. This is what I use, okay? Strangely enough, never got one of those clear Macs. I did eventually get a pink laptop a few years ago. Amazing. No, that's all I sound like, Wade. This is a lie. That's not true. This team does not sound like that. So you are kind of starting to plant things, but you're starting to kind of come in and place some colors around in different elements. So I noticed that you're coloring over the leaves right now. Are you going to like come back, I assume, and like reiterate them?
Yeah. The only reason I do that for like I colored over these leaves too is because if I didn't, it would take forever to go around every single leaf. And by the time the illustration's done, like you're really not going to be able to tell. I kind of mostly just go around the big pieces in the illustration to get that texture and going in different directions. But when it comes to like really itty bitty things, I'm just like, whatever.
I also noticed that like you're doing these planks here, and you even seem to be like going around in the kind of texture you'd want for planks rather than a more kind of organic vibe for like a wall. Right. That is like, I don't know if it would be like stucco or brick or like forest cement that she's created. I imagine it's a little more amorphous than that. So I love that you also are kind of like, when you do the sketch, it doesn't necessarily always need to be kind of sporadic and scratchy in different directions. You do go along with the material you're working with here.
That's true. Yeah. That's funny you mentioned that. It didn't even occur to me that I was doing that. It just kind of happened because because the planks are going up and down like this. Yeah. So I'm kind of almost creating a wood grain on the wood planks. So I'm just drawing in the direction that the material is going, basically. I noticed you were even going like horizontal for those bottom parts there, and you're just going for it. So that's cool. So you really kind of like, you know, you developed your style, and it just kind of goes now. Yeah. I have it down to a science, basically. Like I said, like it literally didn't even occur to me that I was doing that, just because it just kind of, I've been doing it for so long now. I just do it without even thinking. You heard it here, folks. Bear science is a thing. Bear science.
Is that like bird law?
Probably.
Okay. I like Codi's work so much. Its warmth makes me want cool fall days. I agree, Clever. I agree. We are coming up here on fall, at least for my portion of this big blue planet. So I'm waiting for it. I'm excited about it.
Same.
I'm looking forward to Halloween and fall and all the leaves blowing around, turning orange and red. It's going to be great. It's going to be grand. Let me see.
Oh, I also wanted to add about the lighting too. Let's go to this illustration again so you can see it in context. I have all of the lighting layers turned off, but I'm going to turn turn all of the lighting layers off, but I'm going to keep this layer here on and off. So I don't know if you can really see it very well. I'll turn up the opacity all the way so you can see it. So I do the same thing with the same brush, also on overlay, but I do it with a really dark purple. And I kind of give the edges a kind of like a hand painted vignette. So it really centers in on that light. So we can go ahead and do that on this one too. So I'm going to make a new layer inside of this group, the lighting group. And I usually do it underneath the lighting layers, so it doesn't like cover up the lighting too much if it bleeds over.
Okay.
I'm gonna saturate this, and we can edit the color if we need to, but I'm gonna make it pretty big, and I'm just gonna actually change it to overlay first. And I'm just going to go over.
I love it.
It just kind of like darkens up the corners and kind of just adds to the moodiness, and kind of really also just, like I said, like centers your vision onto the focal point here.
Gareth Williams says, I still have a Macintosh 128K in our loft. I get it out every so often to make sure it still works. Gareth, you're not going to believe this, but there is a 128 sitting on my dining room table right now, and I'm working towards getting it up and running. The last time I checked, it worked, but I'm trying to get it going again because I want to play Oregon Trail.
Nice.
If you don't know what the Macintosh 128K is, if you just look it up, you will see it's like this teeny tiny little box where the computer and the screen is like in the same little thing. It takes floppy disks and it's got this little mouse that's like, just got the little rectangle button at the top, and a teeny little keyboard. And it's got so little space that a lot of the stuff that I have that actually goes in it and is compatible with it, I actually have to like make room for each one in order to put it on there.
That's great.
But it's got Oregon Trail on it, and it is a really old, really super cool kind of computer. What was the dark purple? This from Victoria. Do you mean the colors that she's using, or?
I can tell you the exact color. 4F2312. There's the color code that I used, and I used it on overlay. 4F2312.
2312. There we go. I just threw it in the chat. Just so you know, floppy disk, such a throwback and brings back fond memories. Definitely, except I feel really old sometimes when I remember I was making emotes on Twitch one time, and I was making a save emote, and it was a floppy disk that said save across it, and somebody was like, I understand that you have you're making a save emote, but like, what is that? And I was like, what do you mean, what is this? And they were like, what is that? And I pulled up a picture of a VHS next, and I was like, you know what this is though, don't you? Please tell me you know what this is.
That's funny.
Programmed lighting design for Cyrano on the stage production on a floppy disk. No way. That's crazy. Digital dysentery. playing Oregon Trail. Yeah. Back to the days when the software needed several floppies, and if one of them was broken or corrupted, it's just totally. I remember that having to like, where's disc 5? Where is it? We are getting into adding some awesome texture into the flooring here too now, and I'm
so
literally
this is
gonna start doing some warm woodland painting now. I swear, today.
Yeah, so this is how I add my detail lines. I just wanted to be able to show you guys, start working on this so we don't like run out of time before I can start doing that. But yeah, so I use a Conte crayon to do my outlines. Sometimes I add smoothing to help just with my hand jitters, but a lot of the time I won't, just because I feel like the bumpiness of the lines kind of adds character to my illustrations. Like for instance, like on here, like these lines are super bumpy, but you know, I mean, when you're looking at the illustration, I feel like it adds to it. Like if they were like perfectly, like if I held down shift and just like did a perfectly straight line, it would look a lot different. So it kind of just like adds to the like the handmade feel, kind of handmade rustic feel, to just keep the lines just kind of bumpy and just a little bit more loose, not worry about whether it's perfect or not.
Yeah. And I also really like that you kind of talk about different times when you use smoothing. Smoothing has become like somewhat of a new friend of mine recently, because I do, like you say, I like to have like kind of the soft textury kind of like chalk, because I like a good like charcoal brush, you know, kind of like you favor like the chalky kind of crayonish vibe, and it's cool to kind of be able to have more of that organic texture. But every once in a while I do turn the smoothing on, and I can't say that I regret it, because it makes things even more buttery.
Smoothing it, mostly I use smoothing when I'm sketching, actually, like when I'm trying to make just like these like curved lines and stuff like that. I also use smoothing a lot on fresco for the iPad. That helps me with sketching a lot too.
When I'm making the actual shape of the thing that's important to, you know, get the point across about it, and it needs to be specific, I use smoothing for that. All the background and like the coloring, I don't. But yeah, I think we probably use it in the same instances then.
Yeah.
Let's see. Steven says Windows 95 was 21 3 by 3.5 inch floppy disks. Yes. There used to be a tower in my house. It was like a little tower that just had like little slots for floppy disks, and there would be like stacks of them labeled like, this stack of like 8 floppies is this program, and this stack of it's crazy. The youngins have no idea what I'm talking about these days, and every day I feel older. Talking about crayonish, I made some drawing with only a crayon back when I was a child, and it was pretty messy. Yeah, but you know what? I feel like there's a kind of like messy crayon aesthetic that like really is, it's nostalgic, and if done right, it can be like super cozy, you know. And I never really understood until I saw people start like kind of creating stuff, and now I try to do it myself too. Is like you see somebody do like basically what Codi's doing right here, and it is lines and like scribbling into color and doing all these things, but there's so much effort that goes into finessing this into such a wholesome and attractive piece, that I think that people sometimes kind of write off the crayon look until they see like how cool it can actually be. And I would argue that most of the things that I see that are done in like a chalky crayon kind of vibe kind of hit the emotion for me more than anything else sometimes. You know, it like the nostalgia is serious. Remember the days when you had to rewind a movie to start it again? Oh gosh, stop. Yes, I do.
I was about to say that's part of why I started using the chalk texture. Partly just because I felt like I tried the brush out and it just clicked with me. So, but then as I started using it more and more, I realized that it kind of really plays into the childhood aesthetic, childhood, just like it, like feeling like this could have been drawn by a child possibly. Like it has that look. Like I actually have a good example on my Instagram. A while back I did a turkey that has like just these like little scribbled feathers like this, and everything's just like super loose and scribbled with the crayon texture.
I love it.
Just very scratchy, like, oh, this could be like a kid's elementary school project. Like but like with a little bit more of an adult skill level, you know? That's definitely intentional. I think about that, and I think about how it affects people's emotions when I'm doing my illustrations.
Yeah, I think you hit the mark every time too. So whatever you're doing it right, Codi. It's all that
good.
What do we say? The bear science? All that bear science.
Yes, of course.
Yes. I'm so confused about everything you guys are talking about. I've never used a floppy disk in my entire life. This sounds so fascinating. It's not, Rhea. It was a nightmare. We should never go back to floppy disks. It's like a flash drive of information, except like in place of like what we use CDs for now. It was like, you know, like the same kind of plasticky. It's like a floppy disk. It's like a little like square disk. You've probably seen floppy disks in like vaporwave 90s aesthetic art, you know, and maybe didn't know what it was, but it's like a little disc that just inserts. And I wonder, you know what I want to know? This is going to make any person under 20 in this chat is going to shriek when they hear exactly how much data can be stored on a floppy disk. Let's look that up, shall we?
Oh no.
How much data can fit on a floppy disk? Are you ready to scream? 1.4 megabytes.
Oh my goodness, that's less than I thought it was.
Me too. Oh my gosh. There's different floppies though, but good lord. Oh no. Yeah, like 1.2 to 1.4 megabytes of data. And I downloaded a 64 gigabyte video game the other day.
Wow,
so
yeah.
What? They were the dark times.
Yeah, seriously. Dark times. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. That's wild. There's some people who remember those times who are like cringing internally right now. Like, oh, thank God we don't have to we have the cloud now.
Yeah.
We have the cloud. And then Rhea's like, no, I'm screaming.
Thank goodness for the cloud.
No, not 4.4, 1.4 MB. It's not great. It's not. Everyone's like guessing in chat, and it's lower than anyone guessed, except for Gareth, who I assume probably knows because he has a working 128. That's so funny. Yeah, that's what I lived through. Everyone, get off my lawn.
Yeah, for real.
Oh man. So when you kind of get like the main, at least I'm kind of like breaking this up in certain sections, you get like the main portions done where you have like the wall, the ceiling, the floor and everything. And then you just start like chipping away at the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it come together and I'm not even doing it. And instinctually I'm breaking this up like pieces of a puzzle or blocks or like Legos, you know, like you're kind of snapping these little components in as you go along, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not really super methodical when it comes to coloring. I kind of just like bounce around a lot of the time. Like it's not like actually a lot of the time I'll start with the wall. Like if there's a wall, like for this one, I'm pretty sure I started with the wall just because having that big portion of the color put in changes the atmosphere a lot. So I'd probably start with the biggest piece first. But then when it comes to like adding detail lines and stuff like that, like I'll kind of bounce around, I'll just go with my gut and just feel for it as I work and stuff and just figure it out as I go. I haven't even touched the character yet.
I hate to, I don't want to cut you off.
Oh,
but we did miss like 3 minutes ago, 3-4 minutes ago, we should have jumped into the spotlight. And I
oh, no
think
problem.
we were ranting about the dark times of
Yes.
floppy disks. So maybe we can jump over and then kind of continue after we go through it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we would love to kind of show you folks who we have picked out for the artist spotlight today. Again, if you are over on the YouTube channel and you would like to pop over to Behance, this is where you can check out more information on how you can nominate yourself for another artist as a future spotlight. And it is also where you can kind of get the links to the spotlight we're about to do right now. So you guys can kind of check out who we have picked out. So let's jump into it. I'm so excited. So cool.
Oh my goodness. These colors are so cool.
You know,
Wow.
I'm digging it. Like,
oh yeah.
And I instantly, my eyes instantly are like, is that Ghost in the Shell? Okay.
Yes. Right.
All right. All right. I don't know you yet, Yudhi, but we're going to know each other soon.
Yes. Yes. Which one would you like to look at first?
I'm digging the Ghost in the Shell one, like the Ghost in the Shell geisha, right under, right there.
This one. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So cool.
Oh my
wow.
goodness.
All of this detail. I wonder what program is this done in? It looks like it could be Illustrator.
It looks like because so down below there's actual steps, and it looks like it's like Fresco or Photoshop.
Wow.
Yeah, and it looks super clean though.
Yeah.
So
that's
I'm wondering
impressive.
if it's like, oh well, there's a video.
Here's a video.
Maybe we
they added like a particle effect animation. Oh, that's so cool. And
no,
the fish changes. It's like a neon sign almost, the lights in the eyes. Wow.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh man, you outdid yourself. This is great. So I'm wondering if this was like sketched and painted in like Fresco or Photoshop and then taken into Illustrator for the lines. Like, because if you look at the kind of zoomed parts, it has like those lines, kind of like how dollar bills are designed.
Yes.
You know, it kind of has that vibe to it. So I wonder if it's like a combo, or maybe there is tools listed down here.
Oh, tools here. AI, Photoshop, After Effects.
Okay, so yeah,
Right.
Photoshop, then into Illustrator, and then After Effects for the animation. That's excellent. That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
That's so cool.
There's so much detail.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. What about you? Do you wanna choose one to peek at?
I really like this one. I think that this
elephant?
wow. Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow. So much detail. So cool.
That's so neat.
I love how they stylized the clouds here.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It gives it like motion and action.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man.
Let's see. Again, Illustrator and Photoshop. Yeah. Wow. There's so much to look at here. Just like all their little like line details that you can see in here.
Yeah.
All these little like swirls, it adds so much culture and texture into here, all the patterns and everything. Wow.
Yeah, if you look at the steps kind of towards the bottom, you can see like the sketch and then into like some very clean lines there in the second panel. And then like, honestly, I would have been satisfied if you stopped at the third panel and then you went all out, and you can see the difference between where I might have called it done myself to like just like that extra bit of epicness that you added and putting all of those textures and the like if you just look at the trunk, like the difference between the third and fourth panel for the trunk and like the eyebrows and stuff is just so good.
Yeah, they added like lighting and a lot of dimension with these extra layers here.
They kind of pulled it out of the background and like I said, it's cool by stage 3, but like stage 4 you really made it its own thing and kind of gave it some depth. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. I'm so into it. Okay, so we have, do you want to take a peek at one more, or do you want to dive back into work, because we are coming up on towards the end of the stream. I would say we have maybe 15 minutes left.
Let's look at one more.
Okay.
Let's look at one more. I feel like Yudhi deserves one more to look at. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's do
these colors. I love the hair colors.
Yes.
Wow.
Speaking to my purple soul right here. I'm loving it. I love the sketches. Like, I really do love getting to see the process.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're all individual. I just assumed that it was just the panels, but this is great. Okay.
They're almost like bookmarks.
Yeah.
Very cool. Ink process. Oh wow. So here's the full individual pieces.
Yeah, and they're all
done.
individual, like, creature themed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man.
So this one's a dolphin, a tiger. Wow. Very cool. Chameleon.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I would buy that chameleon as a sticker. Like,
oh yeah,
the chameleon, the way its head is shaped and everything. I would.
He's
that
super cute.
So cool.
Wow.
Same with that tiger. That is so awesome. Oh, it's a. Okay, so if you scroll down, there's a shirt, and not only is it a shirt, but they put like the things on her face. Yeah, like the characters.
Oh,
that's how you make a mock-up your own.
Yeah. Ooh. That is such a good idea. That's such good marketing and branding. I love that.
That just made me excited. Like, I was already excited to see the shirt, but that just made me even more excited that it's just, oh man. That's awesome.
Such a good idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well done.
Great work.
Yeah. Excellent work.
Everyone go follow Yudhi. Their work is amazing. If you want to go check out the rest of their pieces, and also follow them on their socials too.
Yes, please
Instagram,
do.
Twitter, etc. And we'll go ahead and get back into working on my piece.
Yeah, let's do it. We got like we said, I have like, I'm thinking maybe 14 minutes we have about left. So yeah, if anybody has any last minute questions for Codi that they really want answered, now would be the time to get it in chat, so we have time to kind of peek at it and make sure that Codi has them relayed. Or I know you have your stream open too, but you know,
right,
I will try to pick some out and make sure that everything gets answered. If you're over on the YouTube channel, please come over to Behance, because we are not going offline after this stream. After us, we have the replay. I believe is it a replay? We have the DCC coming up. Yeah, the replay of the DCC coming up for Illustrator. The Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge right after this, and then we're gonna have Alexis Bustos with us after that, doing some cool mobile app stuff. So I hope that you folks will like stay tuned after this, but until then, now's the time for some good questions, and also you could just, you know, tell Codi how fabulous she is before she takes off, because I know you folks have been dying to do that. I'm constantly having to keep myself from gushing about it. So color scheme is so attractive. I agree, Savvy.
Oh, thank you. Yep, I love me them warm tones. It just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. That's also just like not even just how not even only thinking about like how my viewers would view my artwork, but I kind of just like make things that make me feel good too. It's kind of just like my happy place. Same with like my husband and I are actually working on illustrating and writing a children's series. He's writing, I'm illustrating, but we're in the process of like world building and stuff like that. She's actually Beatrice. Her name is Beatrice, this bear right here. She's in the series. Actually, I can open the original piece that I did of her was actually, it'll be easier to open on my Instagram. It was actually a draw this in your style I did a while back. It was this piece. She's a lavender farmer. So yeah.
She's so cute.
She's a little old lady.
Oh, I'm pumped about this. I wanna know about it as soon as I can throw my wallet at it, because I'm gonna get, if you're coming out with a series, I'm gonna own this series. It's
hopefully
gonna happen
one day.
Yes. Chopper says, I love your work, Codi.
Oh, thank you.
Let me scroll through here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Also saying process is always fun to see. I agree. I think one of the things that I really like just about like streaming the process in general is like, I mean, you learn a lot of stuff. I think anyone who's been here on Adobe Live for a stream or two knows that like you kind of like discover new things about how to create art, and you figure out how to do things for yourself and all that good stuff. But it also gives you like a heightened like strengthened respect for other people's craft, right? And I find that most of the time that I leave Adobe Live, even if I've watched somebody create work that is not necessarily something that I would choose to do myself, I have a newfound respect for other creativity that is not necessarily for me, which in turn I think makes me appreciate things more in general just in life. So it's a cool place to be, folks. Really love these two streams. I am so inspired by Codi, says Laura Staneva.
Oh, thank you.
Raja Shri is sending you hearts, and Jess is like, oh, I will buy them. You and me both, Jess. You and me both.
So before we leave, I wanted to go over a couple things. So first of all, if you guys see this blue, it's actually a little bit too blue for my liking for this color palette, but I did want to talk about relative color really quick.
Ooh, yes.
So this blue is actually pure gray.
What?
Yeah, it's actually pure gray. That tells you how warm my color palettes usually are. Yeah, so I have to actually warm up my gray for it to work well with this with this palette.
No
because
way.
The blue in my palette is gray. If you look on here, the saturation and this, if I color pick this, you can see the saturation is pretty much all the way down. It's gray.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah. So your eyes can trick you, you guys. If you're looking at someone's art and you're like, wow, like you're trying to study how somebody uses the art, uses the color in their artwork. I highly suggest, like, this is how I actually learned color theory, is I would take people's artwork, bring it into Photoshop, and I color dropped their colors to study how they use color and be like, okay, wow, I didn't even think that that color was that color, but it really is. So it just kind of like helps you learn how color works. And yeah, so that's I kind of blew Sam Peterson's mind last time I was on Adobe Live, and he was like, whoa, what?
What's going on?
So yeah, I like pulling that one out of my bag of tricks. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, my mind is blown right now. So I'm like kind of sitting here like, how I'm gonna have to try this. I'm literally gonna, I have so many things today that I'm going to try and make specifically because of this broadcast. Like, you have no idea. I'll have to send them to you. Like,
yes,
I made a thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Please look at it, Codi.
Please, senpai.
Yes. Notice me.
So the way that I check my values, I know there's a lot of different ways to check values. I think, Val, even you check your values different than I do. Values.
My values? Oh gosh. Oh no.
But the way that I do it is I make a layer over top of everything. And I have just pure black sitting in my color palette just to grab it really quickly, and then press a G for the paint bucket. And then I go to change the layer blending mode to color. So then I can just turn it on and off really quickly. I just have this black layer to check my values. So really, in all reality, looking at my values, I probably want to bump up the lighting a little bit. Probably gonna add in some more, just like add in some more just brushed lighting over top of especially the character, because I want to be able to see her face really well. And also, like, with the way that I do eyes too, I always make sure that I do my eyes the darkest color in the image, like this, usually like this kind of off black color, because that will add a lot of contrast to the image. Like, because at the moment right now, there's nothing in this image that has that black color. So if we add in, and let's just do a new layer over top of everything, and I just added in, lower the opacity so I can see the sketch underneath, and then we just grab this color and we add in her eyes. And sometimes I'll even erase the lighting from the eyes because right now it's kind of diluting that color.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, no, it's not. I'm on the wrong layer.
Oh, no.
Let's try that again. There we go. That's much better.
She's so precious. Oh, no.
And we'll just bring her fur layer back up a little bit more. So now we have some pretty good contrast on her face. So when we turn the values back on, your eye is directly drawn to her face right there.
Yeah, for sure. She's very visible. Love it. Love it. Biola says we should do a podcast. We would get into so much trouble.
So much shenanigans.
We would be arrested by the design police for being too wild. It would not be, it would, I don't know. So soothing. Yes. I'll have to catch the replay to figure out how she did the lighting. Yeah, it was actually very in-depth. So if anybody is interested in going back to see how Codi did any of the wonderful, awesome things that she did in her piece today and for yesterday, feel free to check it out. We will have it archived either on the YouTube channel or over here on Behance. In fact, I know a lot of people don't know this, but if you actually scroll below the video player down below us, all of the previous Adobe Live segments are actually organized by category down there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even a category slider that shows the schedule so you know what's coming up. So if you guys want to check that out, you can do that. We have about 4 minutes left until it is time to take off. So maybe in these last minutes, you can kind of let us know where the best places are to find you. Codi, where do you post all your work? Where can people possibly get a hold of you in the future and all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm pretty much only active on Instagram when it comes to social media. So we got my Instagram right here, just at Codi Bear. And if you want to check out more of my work, you can also find it on my portfolio at codibear.myportfolio.com. And also, I do have a Discord. Let's see.
Oh,
where is my
yeah?
Discord? Yeah, I do. I do have a Discord. How
does one acquire?
Let me grab
password?
We got a few minutes here, so let me grab you guys an invite real quick to my Discord.
Yes, Codi Bear Science Discord, guys. Ooh, I'm so jumping into this Discord. I'm so excited. I did not know you had a Discord.
There we go. There's the Discord in the chat. If you guys want to check that out, post your work and just hang out.
And it's called Codi Bear's Cave.
Of course.
Of course it is. I love it. Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm so pumped. All right, cool. Please join Codi Bear's Discord. This is so cool. We are going to hang out. Follow her on Instagram and all that good stuff. And so that you can see, I assume, the kind of end product of these pieces that you've been jamming on. And do you have any kind of parting advice, I suppose, for anyone who's looking to get kind of into this sort of work, things maybe to keep in mind while you're moving, or people just kind of moving into being more creative and trying new things in general?
I can tell you what helped me a lot in discovering what I really love to draw is finding inspiration outside of the art industry and looking towards your other hobbies that you have. Like, for instance, my other hobbies, I love gardening, and I love rustic things, and I love the countryside. So, I mean, if you look at my artwork, you can really see that inspiration being just injected into my work. And it took me a long time to realize that that's what I wanted to draw, because with the saturation of social media, you know, a lot of the time you'll see artists kind of all drawing the same thing over and over again because they're kind of still getting their inspiration from each other. But if you just take a step back and just really look inside yourself and really figure out who you are and what you love, I think you'll go really far because you'll really start loving what you draw and you'll really start standing out from the crowd too.
I think that's excellent, excellent, excellent advice. Well, Codi, we do have to take off now. It is about that time, but it has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for being here, for creating with us. It was a pleasure to host you. Thank you, everyone who came to visit us and chat. Please stay tuned for the replay of the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge and stick around for Alexis Bustos later on today. And yeah, thanks, Codi. This was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Ooh, all right. Adios, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you next time.